Welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly excited you're here because today we are breaking down a powerful, no-nonsense guide on how to build an unbreakable mind from the ground up. Seriously, if you've ever wondered how some people just seem to find that psychological edge to push way past their perceived limitations, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to visually unpack the exact tools, the massive mindset shifts, and those nitty-gritty daily habits that the source material says are completely required to take total control of your life. So let's jump right in.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why do some people break? Think about it. Why do some folks look like completely immovable brick walls when faced with a crisis, while others just crumble under the absolute slightest bit of pressure? It's so easy to trick ourselves into thinking, oh, it's just luck, or they must have been born with some magical genetic advantage. But the source material makes it crystal clear. There is no luck involved, and there's definitely no magic. It is just mental strength. And here's the kicker. The texts argue that the vast majority of us never actually develop it, simply because we spend our whole lives running away from discomfort.
Section 1. The Mindset Game. The absolute first step to taking back control of your life is a massive mindset shift, reminding us that mentally strong people aren't built by sitting safely in their comfort zones.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. The text asks us to look at the brain exactly like a muscle. When you stay over there on the left, in that cozy, static comfort zone, you are literally actively choosing weakness. Think about it. If you don't challenge a physical muscle, it gets fragile, right? But look at the right side. The challenges, that's your resistance training. The authors make this huge point that every struggle, every single setback, and every failure you face acts as resistance training for your brain. Once you flip that switch in your head and realize the struggle isn't there to break you, but is actually the very thing designed to build you, man, your mindset becomes incredibly resilient.
Section 2. David Goggins' story. We're pivoting here to the ultimate proof of concept, moving right from motivational theory into undeniable reality.
So, does this actually work in the real world? Let's rapid fire through this timeline because honestly, it's staggering. Look at the before on the left. Goggins wasn't born superhuman. He was working pest control, he was struggling heavily with his weight and battling depression. But one day, he sees this documentary about Navy SEALs and it just sparks a fire. He made a choice. Jump to the middle. In just 3 months, he lost over 100 pounds just to qualify for SEAL training. He's waking up at 4 in the morning, pushing himself way past what seemed biologically possible. And here's the thing, he wanted to quit every single day. But he knew, and the text emphasizes this, that mental toughness is forged at the exact second you want to quit, but you make the conscious choice to keep going anyway. And today, over on the right, he is widely considered one of the toughest elite endurance athletes on the planet. His transformation is the absolute proof that most of our limits exist strictly in our heads.
Section 3. Drop 3 bad habits. If you really want to reach that level of mental fortitude, you've got to eliminate some toxic behaviors right now, reinforcing the message that your limits exist strictly in your head.
Let's walk through these 3 roadblocks rapidly. First up, stop complaining. The author points out something so true. Complaining has literally never fixed a single problem in the history of humanity. It just keeps you totally stuck in a negative loop. Second, stop seeking constant comfort. The research clearly suggests growth only happens when you're uncomfortable. So if you're clinging to the cozy, easy path, you are stagnating, period. And third, stop making excuses. The text views excuses as a total luxury, one that is reserved exclusively for people who never actually move forward in life.
Section 4. Habits that make you strong. Okay, we know what to stop doing. Let's move to and see how this builds the daily routine of the truly unshakable.
Let's break this daily unbreakable routine down step by step. Number 1, take cold showers. Yeah, I know, they are exactly as miserable as they sound. But the text argues that forcing yourself into that cold water first thing in the morning builds instant discipline. Number 2, exercise daily. The sources show this huge, undeniable connection where building a strong body directly builds a strong mind and massively increases your resilience. Number 3, meditate for focus. Now, this isn't really about winding down or relaxing. It's about building elite, laser-like focus and inner strength. And finally, number 4, do one hard thing every single day. Honestly, the specific task doesn't even matter. Just make sure it demands real, genuine effort. Over time, that habit makes facing adversity your default setting.
Section 5. Control over emotions. We need to address the reality of operating under pressure here. Look, mentally strong people, they absolutely don't let emotions control them. They are the masters of their emotions.
When chaos hits, the sources outline this super practical, three-step technique for emotional control. First, when something triggers you, you've got to physically pause. Literally stop whatever it is you're doing. Second, take a deep breath. This helps reset your entire nervous system. And third, just count to 5. It sounds almost too simple, right? But this creates a critical gap between whatever just happened and your reaction to it. The authors make a great comparison here. Emotions are just like waves. They roll in and they wash away. You absolutely can and should feel them, but you shouldn't let them dictate your major decisions.
So the crucial point is really captured in this one quote. Life is 10% events and 90% your reaction. You simply cannot control everything that happens to you, right? The economy, other people, random accidents. That 10% is completely out of your hands. But you have absolute 100% control over that 90%, which is how you respond. The text argues that this is the exact birthplace of an unshakable attitude. When a problem pops up, treating it as a challenge to solve instead of playing the victim, that changes the entire outcome.
Building right on that, check out this powerful concept. Pain will come, but suffering is optional. The authors are very clear here. Pain is pretty much a guaranteed part of life. But suffering? Suffering is a choice. It's based entirely on how long you decide to hold on to that pain. The text actually challenges us to embrace failure as a totally mandatory part of the journey. I mean, without falling down, you never learn how to walk. Giving up is framed as the only actual failure. So when things get incredibly tough, look at the problem, look at the challenge, and tell yourself, I will not break. You're choosing to push through temporary pain instead of opting for prolonged suffering.
Section 6. Discipline, not motivation. We're entering the true climax of this explainer now. It's time to attack this wildly popular but dangerous concept of relying on fleeting feelings to achieve your goals.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely destroys the myth of motivation. Look at the left side, motivation. It's flashy, it's fiery, but it comes and goes, right? Why? Because it's based entirely on your feelings. Some days you wake up and you're just ready to conquer the world, but other days you don't even want to get out from under the covers. If you rely just on that feeling, the sources warn that you are going to stumble. But contrast that with discipline on the right. Discipline pushes you forward every single day. It's built on strong systems, solid routines, and just brutal consistency. The texts emphasize that the real magic, the actual game-changing results, happen when you focus on executing those small daily habits, whether you feel motivated to do them or not.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. The text leaves us standing right at a crossroads with a huge question. Will you return to your old habits, or will you start the change today? Are you going to close this out and stay fragile? The blueprint for mental strength is literally laid out right here in these sources. But putting it into action, that is entirely up to you. So are you going to keep sitting around waiting for motivation to strike, or are you going to step up, make a choice, and claim your unbreakable future today?